Welcome to the Temple of Geek podcast. My name is Kari, and I will be your host as we share our thoughts on House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 2. If you haven't watched the show, save this episode for later and come back because there are going to be spoilers. If this is your first time tuning into the Temple of Geek podcast, welcome. The Temple of Geek podcast has been around since 2012 and is hosted by various geeks from the Temple of Geek team. Here we cover all manner of geek and pop culture news and events. To our returning listeners, thank you again for tuning in. We really appreciate you being here. So again, we are here to talk House of the Dragon. We have our returning awesome guest. We have, again, my fellow Temple of Geek correspondent, Sue, and we have the amazing JJ. Thank you guys so much for being here again. I was excited to have this podcast again because this episode was juicy. It was so good. So good. So I want to start off with general thoughts. Let's start off with you, JJ. What was your general feeling about the episode?
It felt like the good seasons of Game of Thrones, where you have a big event that happened and the repercussions of it unfolding in the way like the story requires it to happen. And everything is just sort of moving in motion. I loved it so much. I liked it better than the episode one. Like, I can't find the flaw in this one. Just the way that everything happened, like the consequences of Blood and Cheese were done really, really well. Really enjoyed it. Tom Glencarney again, like keeps being a standout, and so does Emma Darcy. Two of them are stars of the show so far.
Echoing what JJ is saying, I like that we're getting to see the fallout of the previous big event of Blood and Cheese, and we're actually getting time to spend time with each of the individual characters and how they're dealing with it and what they're going through and what they're gonna set up, or what the consequences are gonna be. Again, same as what JJ was saying, Tom and Emma standout performances in this episode. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna echo both of you. It was such an amazing episode. I love that we took the time with each of these characters and their perspective, their thinking, their feelings after, the whole Blood and Cheese situation. We got to see what all of them, the process that they were going through, what they were thinking, whatever guilt they were feeling, whatever, they got with Rhaenyra and Daemon. That conversation was so important, was so amazing. And I love that they took their time with that conversation. It didn't feel rushed. And that's how it felt throughout the whole episode with each one of these characters having to have that hard conversation about what happened. The whole thing, just like it felt like they allowed it to breathe and, progress naturally instead of rushed. So yeah, that was completely really, really well done episode for me. Also, my favorite from episode. I mean, episode one was crazy, obviously, with the shocking.
Usually,
but this one had a nice exposition, dialogue, character work. So it was
meat.
really, really great. Yeah,
it had meat.
Yeah, substance.
So like I said, it felt like those first few seasons of Game of Thrones. Like I was telling my husband, and I'm like, it was that good. Like it felt like those seasons. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, that's how I felt. Like Kari and I were kind of messaging in between, like on certain things that were happening. So funny. Everybody keeps calling it Blood and Cheese moment. They never actually say the names of the assassins. It's just it's a book kind of nod, and we refer to the killers in that way. But there was. I think the fans of Fire and Blood are going to be happy with this episode just because it kind of really hit on the things and events that actually do take place in Fire and Blood.
In the book?
So
okay.
The way they're balancing it, I it's working for me. Like,
okay.
It genuinely is. Like the issues that I've had usually with this adaptation is changes in like ages of characters, like de-aging Alicent Hightower, changing her entire personality from being a stepmother to a best friend. No Daron, no Maelor. Like, these are living children born to these highborn women that are just not there. But now, Internet will no, because out of Hightower drops a nugget. we'll get to that. I could not believe.
I was thinking of you in that moment, JJ.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, I said the same thing. I was thinking about JJ during that moment. It was so funny.
Hilarious. I was shook it to my core.
Yeah.
No, but absolutely. I'm glad that you're letting us know that this episode kind of went along very much with what happened in the books. So I'm hoping that the internet's going to be happy with this. And, since there was that change of how Blood and Cheese happened in the first episode, and it was such a controversy.
Oh my God, it was a nightmare to be on the internet after that.
Absolutely crazy.
Oh, people had thoughts. People had opinions.
And I'll admit I'm guilty of this, of comparing the event of Blood and Cheese and Fire and Blood versus like the Red Wedding. The reason why I say Red Wedding of this era is because of the brutality of it. Like Red Wedding itself is a very brutal moment. This was extremely, extremely brutal, and even worse in the text, as you guys, I've already described that. But at the same time, it's not, because Red Wedding weighs heavily more because you spend time with Robb Stark for a long time. You grow up kind of with him. You know what I mean? You're reading through the points of view of his mother. You're with his mother, and then she gets murdered. All those things weigh on you because you spend time in their POVs. You spend time with them, their struggles. Like the children of Aegon, they're like side decorations in a lot of ways. Don't get me, like, they're not real characters. They're just there. So, but that does not take away from the brutality of the crime. It's still an innocent child being butchered like an animal. So I feel like, and I found an old video of mine because I got chewed up for saying I don't mind the change. I really got chewed up on the internet over this. But I found an old video of mine from December saying I hope they change Blood and Cheese on the show because it's too brutal. You cannot translate that. The internet is going to be outraged, especially in lieu of things that are happening in the real world. There's holding that kid, not to go into that. You understand what I'm trying to say? So there's a toneness that you have to watch. There's responsibility on you as a showrunner to kind of mind yourself and mind the world. So,
yeah. So let's get into it. First thing we see, of course, the whole castle is going nuts, going crazy. We see,
chaos.
Aegon going crazy. Alicent is crying. Helena is just beside herself. I think one of the first main things that happen is that they actually catch Blood.
Yeah.
He got
with
caught
the head of the boy.
With the head of the boy. With the head of the boy. And he immediately snitched. He immediately.
He saw Larys's torture tools.
I was like, and he knows that he's gonna get killed anyways, but he's like, maybe I have a chance, and he just confesses right away.
Aegon was not gonna have it. He had him. I would have. If I was Aegon, I'm torturing him. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
I mean, they only show like the first blow. I don't think that killed him. I think he's taking out his anger.
Oh no, he definitely took out his anger on him.
And I do love how they portray the rage in him. Like, this is a deeply unlikable character who's not obviously ready for this role. He's too impulsive. But like when he was screaming, "My son! They killed my son!" And then he says, "They killed my legacy. It's my son and my legacy." And because I kept thinking he's gonna be like, that was the heir to the throne. How dare they? But he actually humanized him for a moment. Like that was father's grief on display. It was really well done. When he destroyed the diorama that Viserys was making.
Yes.
My heart broke as well. I'm like, oh no. Lyria going through another destruction.
Yes, Aegon was going nuts, but I'm getting a little bit annoyed and like, stressed because this next thing we're going to talk about. Otta Hightower is a complete depraved asshole. I'm sorry, Monica, but that's what it is. Oh my gosh, I can't.
It's a gentle word.
Yeah, because we get to the point where Otto thinks that this is such a beneficial thing because now they can go. He wants to display the child's body in a procession so people can see, and like that's gonna get them, the support of the people. And then not only that, but have Helena behind the procession, behind the body, so she has to look at the body the whole time. Crazy.
I cannot get the staple out of my head, or the stitches. I'm sorry.
I was worried.
Stitches or staples? It was stitches, right? Because staples, didn't exist.
Yeah, not in that world. Yeah, I
But not
cannot
only
get the image
that,
out of my head.
they got stitches, but they didn't even put the head like really close to the body. There was still some space there.
You can literally still take a little scarf and cover the baby.
Yeah, no, but they wanted people
It was
to
for
see.
show.
They wanted people to see Otto every
Political
time
points, exploitation of a child's body like a dead
his
end.
own great grandson, like
His
a
own
baby.
great-grandson.
Like every time I feel like he's the worst, he finds a way to just like become worse. It's that the levels of depravity that this man stoops to. I was in shock watching that scene, and like he's talking to like the father of the child that just died, and he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna use your son's body and we're gonna do this, and we're also gonna like parade your wife, who like this poor woman who just lost her baby in the and was present while that was happening. We're also gonna parade her out for her tears, and then the queen mother. And I was like, where do you think of like how do you like did you even grieve this child? Did you even know this child's name? Do you even like what? How do you come up with that for somebody who's from your family? I don't understand.
I think it just further shows that that family itself is not. They don't have that loving bond between any of them. Like none of them can actually talk to each other like human beings. It's all they literally through like things went down when they crowned Aegon, and the family was never able to recover. Like there was nothing in that family that was done out of the goodness of their heart. Them having children is only for political reasons. Parading that body of a dead boy like an animal for political gain and to basically slander Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra the Cruel, which nod to the book. It was sickening. But in the context of what's happening and who Otto Hightower is, it made perfect
genius.
sense.
Oh
Had
yeah,
he not done
genius.
that, I would have been like, I would have done that if I'm Otto Hightower. And this is exactly what I would have done. And
I don't know. It was politically, it was genius. Like,
well,
and that's why Allison didn't push back against it either.
Oh yeah, she didn't even like consider the fact that this is like heinous what they're doing. Like it's one thing to have the funeral procession be so public, but to display the body of the poor child who died and to then bring his mother that they all know is going through it, that like just witnessed this horrific event, was in the room when it was happening. And also they know that Helena doesn't deal with situations like this. She doesn't deal with like difficult situations and trauma and stuff well. Like we've seen that in season 1, and they're aware of that.
Right.
They just don't care.
No,
like, this is a family that
doesn't care about each other. There's no love.
No, there's no love. They don't understand what love is. Like none of the
thinks
adults.
She loves her kids.
No.
Allison thinks she loves her kids.
No.
But what she feels her kids are again political
tools.
Advantage or control.
Yes. Because that's what she was. She was a political tool for her father.
And the cycle
propagated.
It cycle continues. And when she walked into Helena to talk to her, like the way at least the scene was portrayed, maybe I'm wrong, I'll watch it again. Like she was more concerned about what Helena saw.
Yes, no, she does. I made note of that. I was like, I can't believe, as she's like talking to Helena about her son's funeral and the fact that she's going to have to attend and be paraded out in front of the masses, that she then is like, oh, by the way, what you saw in the room was not actually what you think. I'm like, girl, read the room. And I'm so glad that Helena cut her off and she's like, this is for my son, and just like turns away from her.
And it's a shroud that she was.
Yeah, and it's the shroud she was sewing in the previous episode. But no, Allison just keeps proving the fact that she does not know how to be a mother. She does not know how to have normal like relationships with people. She does not know how to relate to them. She walks in on Aegon, I mentioned earlier, and she walks right back out. She's not even trying to like comfort her children, like hug them, let them greet, like nothing. She's not even crying herself. Like she's just like worried and whatever. And actually throughout the episode, you see that she's more concerned with like, I have sinned, like the fact that she's sleeping with Crispy Cole.
That's come down to I was sinning, gods are punishing me.
And they're punishing me. Like she's like, that's what she's
how do you make
about.
it about herself? Like
she manages.
She somehow found a way to make it.
Found a way to make herself. This happened because
everything's about herself.
Woe is me.
Yeah,
you know.
Like
Not,
Rhaenyra going and having like, like having fun in her life and being with Harwin Strong is like a slight against her personally. Like everything, she just makes everything about herself and like manages to play the victim in every situation.
and Olivia Cook confirmed in an interview that when she was younger, she was harboring a crush on Kristen Cole. So, which makes sense. Like if you look at the tourney scene, the way she's looking at him, like you and Fabian Franco
You're
is an
right.
attractive man. Kristen Cole is an attractive man, so it totally it made sense in the context of that scene. So the fact that
And that's why she was so angry.
and then correct that she got Kristen Cole. Like it was start of the end for her. And that right after that, she's used as a tool for her father to prop himself. So yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I think so something that you said too in a conversation that we were having, how he's the Lord Commander, right? He's supposed to be guarding the queen. He's supposed to be guarding the queen, but she decided to like keep him there for herself. Because he's supposed to be guarding the queen, correct?
Well,
If
no,
he's the
he
Lord
didn't station
Commander?
somebody. He didn't station somebody at Helena's door, even though she's
No, I'm just
basically
saying but I'm just saying in
he would have
general,
been he would have been
he's
the
supposed to
one
be the one guarding
either at the
Helena because
king
she's
or
the
the
queen.
queen. Hmm.
Right?
Or the
Is
king
that
himself.
correct?
But
Usually the Lord Commander guards the king.
yeah.
Okay.
But
So,
he's nowhere. He's not at either one of their
Either
doors
one.
that night.
even Aegon II should have been like, were you at my door? Like, and you see that like contrasting with Dragonstone, the way Rhaenyra is protected, like she has people at doors at all time. So the fact that nobody was in front of Helena's door is very telling, and it's an irresponsibility on the Kingsguard. They need to be alert at all times. But that's the whole point of Blood and Cheese being such a mess as it was. The guard of the Greens is down. They're so like arrogant about what's happening. Nobody's taking actual responsibility for Luke's death. Like when Allison's like, did Rhaenyra respond to my letter? What, your apology for the death of her son? Like the way he said that, like
your son's involved in?
correct. Which we'll get to. That was an interesting choice that they made for Aemon. Like I love that character. Like I wish he was a bit more unhinged, like he is in the text. But like all of that is apparently saved for Daemon, who has no redeeming qualities, none whatsoever. They said no redeeming qualities. He's nothing character. He's just angry and greedy. Two personalities.
We get that's what we get to next. We get Rhaenyra
I wanted to say one more
having
thing about Kristen.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. No, go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing about Kristen, because this is like a colossal mistake. I don't understand how he's still alive and he keeps failing upwards, because him not having people stationed and then having like the king's son be killed, that should have him hanging. Like Aegon should have his head for that colossal mistake. And when he asks him, he's like, "Where were you?" And he's like, "I was abed." It's like, no, you were in his mother's bed. Like,
Imagine had he known that.
yeah, like I don't understand how Aegon didn't like, just literally ask for his head right at that point. And then I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but he fails upwards in the episode.
Oh yeah,
but
no, with that we're getting to that.
Plot armor on
boy.
the character. There's been a plot armor on that character from the beginning. Like
seriously,
yeah.
Because so many times he should have been like literally. If it was anybody else, like they would just done.
You don't kill noble lords at weddings without consequence. It just it does not happen.
Allison probably like intervened or something because she's got a crush. I don't know. I don't know if she would have even had that weight.
I almost wish they gave us like a scene on that. Like, no, he'll be forgiven, or like we'll offer him the black, as they call it, to go to the wall. There's all these different punishments you can administer. But you're right. And I think that's Aegon being rightfully so, like in a moment of anger, in a moment of irrational feelings. Like he's not looking for in his own circle, like, why aren't you correct? He's like, I need the killers. I want to kill blood. I want to kill cheese. It's Rhaenyra. Like he's already looking 10 steps ahead, instead in his own backyard.
Yeah, but he's also missing like this big gap in his own like inner circle, because he hasn't been trained on how to be a king and what expectations there should be from those around you who are either serving you or protecting you. Like that's a huge mistake that Kristen Cole did, and he's not seeing it, as like he's not seeing the magnitude of that mistake that he made.
No, not
He's
at
not.
all.
And that's why he keeps
Aegon
doing
heard
it.
right, because Aegon heard that Kristen made these moves that he wanted to show strength, essentially, like moving, kill Rhaenyra, hang all the rat catchers, like a shit move. Like, why would you do that's gonna backfire on you so bad? Like, I'm like, you had this thing in the bag. Literally, people could have flocked to your banner just on this event alone, and then you,
yeah. And again, they had me agreeing with Otto after what he did in the beginning of this episode. They actually had me agreeing with Otto when he was telling them that what they did with the rat catchers was bad.
Really we'll get to that.
Like, you have to really,
yeah.
And that was pretty.
We're jumping around.
Let's go to the scene with you're good. Let's go to the scene with Rhaenyra and Daemon. Again, one of my favorite conversations.
Probably the best scene in the entire series.
It was so
the
good.
Entire episode.
I was just making the joke that Daemon was like, I didn't know. I didn't say that.
He was smirking.
I just said amen.
Like,
I don't know
sitting there like,
that was a mistake. That had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I said amen.
I said amen.
Rhaenys catches on she catches on to him so quickly, and then Rhaenyra turns and she's like, what is Rhaenys looking at? And she's like, it was you.
No, but I'm glad that Rhaenyra made sure. She was like very like adamant, like, I did not order this. This was not me. I would never do that to Helena. She wouldn't, you know?
She even says the word. She even calls her by name, because even in the book, she's like, my sweet sister.
She said an innocent, and she says an innocent. Yeah, like I love having Rhaenyra like actually like express that so like personally with Helena, because she has no ill will towards her. And yeah, Helena is an innocent. She's like, why would I in my own grief do this to another mother?
Correct. Oh, so good. And then the argument with Daemon, like, and again, Daemon is a complicated character. He's always been, you never know what his motivation is. Like, it is very hard to tell. Even when you're reading through Fire and Blood, does he actually love Rhaenyra? There is love there. There is on some subconscious level. Like, Targaryens in general, they're kind of strange to begin with, but there is love there. But there's also things that are stronger than that love: his own ambition, the greed, the slight that he was rejected by his own brother. And the way he tells her, like, you were mad because he chose me, so that he kept you away from the crown. You're dangerous. You're not to be trusted. Like, literally, she's saying same things. She's saying same things to Daemon that Viserys told him.
Yeah, and he still won't learn and won't accept it.
The thing is, like, Daemon was right, though. As far as, like, Viserys keeping Otto Hightower close to him, like, I'm your blood, and you're keeping Otto Hightower near your bosom, like, but you are too impulsive, you're too violent, you're too wild, too unpredictable, a rogue. That's the whole. He just doesn't listen. He has his own preconceived notions about his family, about the house and the crown, and like his own like ancestry. Like, he's so strong in it, but cannot calm down about it. There's nothing. He doesn't take anything in strides. Everything has to be like in this dramatic motion. Like, you commission the murder of a royal prince without consulting the queen if this is the right move, when your own like your own claim is being questioned. Like, yeah, no, that was a brilliant conversation. That's that scene in the 0.2 context clip that everybody lost their fucking mind.
Yeah. How could
she's going into him about his trustworthiness. Well, can we wait for context, please? Like, they're having an argument over a serious thing, being questioned, propaganda being spread across where Rhaenyra is potentially losing bannermen. A lot is happening, like, in that moment. Like, a child was butchered. Like, she just lost her own kid. She just buried him. There's a lot going on. Like, brilliant scene. I loved it so much. And Matt Smith, just the way he portrays, like, somebody who cannot, for the life of him, say anything that he actually feels or thinks. It's just, everything is facial and very angry and very like confrontational. Like, he's got always something to prove.
Always in the defensive.
Yeah.
Always in the.
There's also some softness there. Like, when he approaches Rhaenyra mid argument, and he like, there is a little bit of like, he just doesn't know how to express himself. He's got like all of this internally that he doesn't know how to express himself, and the way that he like tries to like express himself is through action, which doesn't always pan out well. And then people start questioning him because of that. But it's like he does have love and care, and he does care about his family in general, and he tries to do the right thing. He just doesn't know how to like communicate, and he doesn't know how to, he doesn't know how to communicate outwards, or even like.
And even Rhaenyra calls him out on that. Even, like, I was in labor, in childbirth pain while you're waging wars, and even no, none, zero, not any good emotions, love, softness. There's none there. And when, like, previous episode, when Rhaenyra returns to Dragonstone after she found Lucerys, like, when the head thing, like, it's his love language, because you see it all the time. Where you saw it with Massaria, you saw it with Viserys, you see it with Elena when she was pregnant. Like, he pushes his forehead, and that's his, like, one time moment of softness that he has for his family members. But
I
then,
almost expected him to do the same during that argument, because he was trying to because she's like questioning him and questioning his loyalty and questioning his love, as the subtext, right? And he's like, he comes close to her and he touches her, and I was half expecting him to do that again, kind
like,
of like to like,
he's
yeah,
aching to say, I'm sorry.
yeah, he is, but he doesn't know how to. He gets in his own way.
Tripping
And
himself
he's just
constantly because
he
he's
thinks
just so
that
unstable.
he thinks that I think also that he thinks that the correct way of him showing how much he loves his family, or he wants to protect his family, is always waging some type of violence. Like, that's what he thinks, that he has to do, like, violent things all the time, and like, you see, I do care about you. I'm going over there and killing somebody for you or something,
I did this big
Yeah,
thing for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I did the hard things and he says it to her. He's like, I forget the exact line exactly. Like when she says like Viserys was right about you, and he's like, he wasn't willing to shed the blood that was needed in order to do what was needed. And he's like, and you're doing the same thing. And he's like, that's his sort of love language, is he does the hard things and he makes those hard choices and acts in those harsh ways so that they don't have to do it. And like, he's never appreciated for it, because he does it also in very like wrong ways. But that's what he tries to do, is like to take the burden of and the blame and the guilt off of those that he cares about, that he's trying to protect, by doing the hard, violent, gruesome things.
And even like right after that argument, when he's in the hallway passing by his daughter, I think that's one part that's going to cause a bit of contention in the discourse. I'm going to predict it right now. Like, Daemon and Baela do have a close relationship. At least that's what we're told, because they spend time together. He trains her. Like, the twins were born, he presented them in court in this like elaborate sort of presentation and all of that. So, and Baela's very like him, like the way she behaves, the way she talks, the way she is just very impulsive. Like, she's all the good parts of Daemon and none of the evil. I always say that. So, like, the fact that they don't have a relationship, it's like they really want to take away any sort of humanity out of this character. Like, they don't want you to sympathize with Daemon Targaryen at all, like at all. Like, almost like becoming
The
cartoonishly
writers hate him.
evil. The writers
The
really
writers,
hate
Yeah,
him.
but if
we
they,
already saw that, what they said, like, oh, I don't know, we don't understand how people like Damon. I'm like, you
like,
don't
if you can
understand.
humanize a serial rapist who has children in fighting rings, like, how can you not then also humanize somebody who's trying to protect his family in evil ways? Sure, but he's doing it out of love, whereas like Aegon is literally just like doing it out of like selfish reasons, like just on impulse. He's the spoiled royal who's never had responsibility in his life. Like I don't understand this like
They even do it with,
dehumanization of Daemon.
they even like do the thing to Aemon One Eye, who says, "I do regret my business with Luke to the prostitute. He can only share that with her because it's that information is not leaving the brothel or wherever the party was at. So there's regrets there, and the way he was like cooped up, like in like this
Fetal position.
fetal position, it was very interesting visual choice there that I'm still sort of kind of unpacking. I'll have to watch that scene again. But when he says like, "I do regret my business with Luke," and it makes sense when you look at the context of that whole scene, like in their childhood being rough, kid being bullied and teased, and like they brought him a pig instead of a dragon when he was young, like all that childhood trauma and the bullying and the teasing is sort of like resurfaced at Storm's End when he was like, pluck your eye out now. I want your eye. Like it was almost like retribution. And he wasn't like trying to kill him on purpose. Just this dragon that he has sensed his emotion and things happened. So they humanize Aemond, they humanize Aegon. And these are relatively bad people.
Otto as well.
When he's like talking about the rat cat. Not that he gives a shit about rat catchers. Let's want to make that clear. He does not give a shit about those small folks. it's the appearances. It's the how it looks. So, but he's right. Like you've damaged. Like I paraded your dead son like a gutted pig for sympathy points. Number one, to paint Rhaenyra as the cruel and look at the work of Rhaenyra the cruel, only for you to undo all of that by that public display. Like you could have gathered the rat catchers and killed them privately. None would be the wiser. Like you're fucking rich. You can like hide and lie and do you know what I mean? Like, but he did it. Like it was shocking imagery when I saw those bodies hanging. Maybe because I'm not used to I haven't seen violence like that in a long time. Like The Boys is pretty much the last thing that I watched last year. It was extremely violent, but I was really shocked. And just like the mothers wailing over their sons, their husbands, that was painful. So it just, I weared off again. I'm sorry from like Daemon.
No, you're good.
Like, just, we'll get back. We'll get to
it's all interconnected.
It really is. It comes. It is really connected. Yeah. So
yeah.
But going
because
back on Daemon, like
the themes are very much related to each other, and that's what's awesome about this episode is that all of that it's connected in that way because we see recurring themes throughout the episode. Yeah.
The parallels between the characters and situations as well.
Yeah.
How they're sleeping, their arrangements on security, like who's being guarded, like just all these huge differences, like a yin and yang.
With everything that goes on, because again, we were talking about how Helena wasn't guarded, and there's like this mess going on with their guards and stuff. But then we see the opposite with Rhaenyra, very structured, very much, the protection is there. Their guards are on point with everything, So yeah.
And when she asks for double the guards, one guy was like, "It's already done." Like they're being like her people are being proactive, where she doesn't have to be the one giving all of the orders. Like they understand what's
happening. It's not just dragons coming from the sky burning you. You still have, as we've seen, people within your own circle that can like cause problems for you.
Yeah,
you have to be on guard.
It's like
wartime. You cannot have your guard down.
Yeah. I also like how that to me kind of seems how, the type of loyalty and respect that they have for either side, like the guards, because the guards respect Rhaenyra so much. They have so much like loyalty for her and stuff. You could tell. But then the guards with Aegon, it's like, we're just doing our job. We're just doing because that's our duty.
Basically.
That's it.
Even Eric, like when Kristen Cole is trying to like project and blame him and shift the responsibility of what happened with Jaehaerys, like his cloak is dirty. And that's one of the things, like that's such a big part of the world, I guess. The white cloak represents like, they're supposed to be like, they can't marry, they can be with women, they can't sire. It's purity of it all. Like your life is that door and protecting the king and his family. That is your dedicate, that you die like that. So like when the cloak is dirty and Kristen is already like projecting, like he's probably feeling super guilty, and he is. Like we can hate on the
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But he's feeling a lot of guilt when he's in that room, when he sees the bloody mattress being taken out. Like you can just see how angry he is, probably at himself most of all. But then again, it goes back to Rhaenyra, the bitch queen. Like
yeah. At least he called her a queen, so you recognize she's queen.
But let's get into it because that's the next scene. We see him like just basically you could see that inner conflict with himself. The guilt and oh my God, basically it's my fault this happened and stuff. And then we see that conversation with Alicent, and Alicent again is concerned. Have you told anybody? That's her main concern. Yeah, that's her main concern. And he's like, no, why would you think that? She's like, oh, for absolution. He's like, I have no absolution. I'm like, yeah, damn right you don't. You not will never be forgiven, sir, ever. But then that, I think, makes him even rage more and go and take it out on Eric. And all of a sudden, he wants to talk about purity and honor and stuff. Like, sir, like JJ said, you're so projecting.
He's essentially parroting Allison, projecting all of her religious trauma and insecurities onto Rhaenyra. They're literally two peas in a pod, two of them.
Oh yeah. Match made in hell.
Literally match made in hell. I gotta say, Olivia Cook and Fabian, they've got some really nice chemistry between them. Like, as far as
yeah, they do.
The conflict itself, like the relationship is very complicated. Obviously, like they're really doing really well with the acting and everything and selling these roles. Particularly Kristen Cole, yeah, he's a hated character, but Fabian Frankel is, I think, capturing that.
That's what is good. I hate him, and that's how you know he's doing an amazing job, because I hate them.
Correct. Same with Otto Hightower. I can never say his name properly. I will butcher it, so I'll just say that. But you hate them so much because the actors are doing such a good job with their roles.
And Kristen, another character that's awful that they humanize a little bit in the show, right? Like that, the guilt and what he does with it. And it sort of mirrors Daemon a little bit with how he then takes that in, like he takes what he's feeling and like puts that into action. When he tells Arik to go and kill Rhaenyra, and again, another big move, right? I mean, it's calculated. It's still calculated. Both of them are do it in calculated ways, but it's like big things that have really big consequences if they were to accomplish them. And they're making these decisions on behalf of the royals that they're supposed to be serving.
Correct. And it's, again, the mirror, Rhaenyra being upset with Daemon to a point where he damaged the marriage pretty much, I think, forever. He's coming back in a week or never was literally a quote. Yeah, so I think she's checked out of that marriage. And then like with Aegon being like, oh, hell yes. This is the move. This is the strength that I need to show, because you cannot just waltz into my house and kill my child. So it's just the opposite reactions, like to a point where he disregards his grandfather, the one who's fairly reasonable. Even though, trust me, parading a child on any normal level is depraved. But if you are in Otto's position, that's exactly the move that you do. So Otto is making these choices that are essentially benefiting his king. And he gets punished for it. Like, take off the hand. And he places it on Kristen because he wants action and he wants violence. No reason. And I love the part is like, I'm the king. My father chose me. I was like, is that what you think?
I was hoping he would put him in his place and say the truth in that scene, but he didn't. And I understand why. But
is that what you think?
It is implied. Yeah, exactly. Is that what you think? Yeah.
And that's what even Aemon says in the previous episode, like they usurped the throne. So you know what you
know. They all know. They all know.
They're not dumb, but we're here now. I mean, might as well, we got to keep going with it. Can't go back.
You have, correct. You cannot literally go back. And Kristen Cole using Eric's brother against him in that way to manipulate him into going into on Dragonstone to kind of play Arik to get to.
I was cursing Crispy out the whole time. I was like, no, you did not. No, you did not just do that. You are a soulless bastard, bro. Like,
Cargill Duel is one of the saddest parts in Fire and Blood for me. Like, I have a hard time reading it because there's just conflicting testimonies of how things went, that they died in each other's arms, that they like did a suicide together, like they wanted to go out together, that they fought and then they shared really harsh words. There's different testimonies, but like Cargill was very sad, very, very sad.
But just the fact that Kristen did that just because of his guilt, sending somebody to a certain death because he knows.
Oh, absolutely.
He was not coming back.
Once he kills Rhaenyra, there's no coming back.
There's no coming back.
Yeah.
And does it out of like
maybe there was a chance. I don't know. Like the twins look this. Who knows what would have happened had Mysaria not kept?
Mysaria, yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm surprised she didn't. Well, I don't know. Does she say something or not? Because I part of me was
it's
like, oh, I
implied.
think she's gonna say something, but then
She
like they don't act like
No,
the people in the castle
yeah.
don't act like.
that's the beauty of a show like this. You don't need to be
Mm,
told everything.
yeah,
You can kind of
that's true.
make your own. Like when
Because
she
how did
saw
Eric
Eric
know?
walking, she just
It-
turned around.
Yeah,
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 Like,
but
wait a
yeah.
minute,
Like she
I
says,
just
then
saw
but I
you.
don't. Yeah, like it's implied that she like is gonna say something, but then we don't see the castle acting any differently. But then no, actually, you know what? When Eric runs in, I think that's the news
Eric
finally
knew.
got to
Yeah, yeah,
them.
yeah,
No, you're
yeah.
right.
Because
Yeah, you're right.
Why would Eric run into
Why
the
would he
room
run
with
to
them?
Rhaenyra?
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So then the
yeah.
news finally reached the castle from sorry, because he already had a head start, right? Yeah, no, you're right.
And going back just to touch up on Missaria, because she's one of my favorite characters. I always root for the losers of Westeros, the small folks, the prostitutes, the bastards, the cripples and the broken, as Mr. Martin puts it, like for the fringes, the ones that are on the fringe. So Missaria has always had a special place in my heart. I love the fact that they are sort of building slowly a little bit of a relationship with Rhaenyra. Like maybe she'll take her into her service. Like you have certain gifts, as she says it. Now that Damon left, she's has a spot to fill on her council. So I don't know. Maybe this is gonna like play into her returning into services of the queen, because again, money is a problem, as we've seen in King's Landing, with everybody struggling financially, all of the money being flushed quite literally into the war efforts. Like the food is expensive. You saw with Hugh Hammer, it's another character that doesn't have significance now to a casual viewer, but he will have significance later on. And he's being humanized. He is being very much humanized as well. I was laughing because without spoiling. Anyway, but you see him like sharing dinner with his family, and she's struggling. Like it took me 3 hours or 3 days to find chicken, and I paid more than I should have. Like it's really establishing that the kingdom is financially choked due to this war. Everything is pushed into the war efforts.
I was surprised they included that scene of because to me I was like, oh, they're giving like a bit of perspective of the small folk, and I was kind of like a little bit surprised that they're doing that because like yes, it's implied with like the previous scene from the last episode. I think he was the one who came to ask about the sheep, right? It was him. Yeah.
Not the sheep,
Um.
but
Oh. Oh, sorry. No, the
the
ironsmith.
Smith,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
the
Yep.
Ironsmith. Yeah.
Yeah, like that as well. Like that scene. I mean, we got a similar scene in season one, but just to kind of show that, like, they can't just go off and do whatever they want with the war. There are restrictions for what they're able to do
And there's
based on,
consequences too.
and there
Like
is
there's
consequences. Yeah, but
consequences. The food is
Mhm,
scarce. It's expensive,
exactly.
and the right after that, the image zooms in on the hung rat catchers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And having those two scenes in a row to me is kind of like, even though they think they have like, the support of the people, they're gonna start turning on them. Yeah, they're gonna start turning on them when they can't eat and then they're killing them
Correct. When you
like
cannot eat
innocent.
and your kid and your son is being hung for what
Yes.
reason exactly?
Yep. Yep.
What reason?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like they couldn't even have like tried to question them or tried to identify them in some way. Like I don't know. He was just like just kill all of them. I was actually half expecting them to do that in the very first scene when they were rounding up all of the staff in the castle. To me, I was like, oh no, this is going to be a bloodbath, and they're just going to like kill all of them for being
I'm
present
glad
when
they
this.
didn't take that
I'm
route.
glad they didn't,
I thought
but
the same thing too.
I
I
had a
thought I was
feel.
like, oh
Yeah, I had a
man.
feeling they were going to do something to all of everybody who was working in the castle at that point.
Like question all this. Maybe it's implied that they
At
would
least
gather all
question it.
this.
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean
you
they're
saw
rounding
the
them up and they're
dogs,
rough with them.
and they saw the dog sniffing Jaehaerys's clothes. So obviously they are on a search and a hunt, and everybody's on high alert to catch the butcher and the rat catcher. So the fact that Aegon didn't like just capture everybody because he has the tools, aka Larry Strong, the torturer of the realm. He could have tortured information out of the rat catcher who actually did it, but he was off for blood. He was seeing black. He did not see any, like he fired his grandfather, who's been the voice of reason within his own rule so far. So now, like, you're gonna regret this, and
Oh, he is.
it's
Oh,
gonna.
he is. Especially if he's got crispy coal by his side
Quite
now.
Kristen
literally a
as
mad
a
dog.
hand.
Anger management.
Mad dog with no restrictions.
No
He
anger problems.
I've already like lost my honor. I lost the girl. Talking about Rhaenyra, I like season one. Lost the girl, lost the honor. I have nothing else to lose. Nothing.
Allison's still sort of pushing him away as well now that she's like feeling guilt over the sin that she's committed. Like they're kind of in a bit of a precarious
They
situation,
are.
and I feel like every time she denies him, he's gonna go off and do something like really, really like rash.
Yeah. There's guilt for sure. Like in the way they're like playing off that guilt between them. Like we were doing this instead of being with Helene or somebody being protecting her door or something like that. But at the end, as we saw, like their passions took over and they just couldn't contain it
Oh
while her
yeah,
son is wailing.
wailing. Dude, that was
I
one
literally,
thing I don't understand. Like,
she
how
didn't even
is
like
it
put a
that
hand on his shoulder.
something,
Thing.
something?
She
Because
didn't even, did she hug Helena?
She didn't hug Helena. She literally comes in. She's
no,
like, "This is what we have to do for the funeral," and like it's just like
yeah,
very like
that's
business.
it.
Business. Oh, by
She
the way,
didn't
what you
try to
saw
come at
in the
her.
room the other day.
That's right.
She
What a
didn't. She didn't
She
try
didn't
to
contrast
come
come
at
at
her with
her.
with
sympathy.
Jacaerys and Rhaenyra when they're comforting each other.
Hmm. It's just
Oof.
different.
They're really
So
like
so much.
doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna get Team Green. Like, why are they trying to show them in a bad light?
Well, spoiler
Because
alert,
that's
they
what it
are.
is. Like, what are you talking about? Hello.
Otto Hightower's ambition knew no bounds. And like he planted himself for a long time, undermining the king, undermining his choices. Like there's repercussions for this. And he used his own daughter to achieve his goals. Like that's, of course you're going to be painted as a bad guy. But on the other hand, like
He has been since the beginning.
bad too. Like I think they're balancing really nice. I do hope that Rhaenyra takes more drastic choices in the future. She's a
But
little
there's
too
also like,
right now.
yeah. I
I
mean,
fire and
yeah. I
blood.
feel like
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
she's gonna have to make hard choices, and she's gonna have to like also with this back and I'm assuming there's gonna be a bit of back and forth now that like they're gonna keep answering each other, or they're gonna attempt to answer for what happened to Jaehaerys. I mean, with the Queen's, the assassination attempt, I'm assuming they're gonna try something else because they still haven't gotten blood for what happened. But she's gonna probably get pushed to more and more drastic measures
As the war
or
intensifies,
actions.
you're gonna have, and that goes back to the conversation with Daemon.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, he knows.
blood. That's the nature of what's happening. Like we're not solving this war with ravens, as it's called, the War of the Ravens. Like once Lucerys died, it quit being War of the Ravens. It's done. Diplomacy is over. It's over.
But I'm thinking that because I know Damon is gone, but maybe I'm
I hope
thinking
he's
that
not
after
gone
he
forever.
hears, maybe I'm thinking that after he hears the attempt at on Rhaenyra's life, he's gonna get all violent again because you know how he gets. He's like, what? And then come back, yeah. And it's like, "Oh, you see, I told you we need to go fight these people right now." Like that's just gonna
Correct.
give him
See,
even more
he's gonna be like, "I was
motivation.
right. They're trying to kill you."
Yeah, yeah. He's
I
like, I
think
told you.
wasn't it implied that he went to Harrenhal too?
I
I
think that
think.
was implied
Oh,
that he was going
that's
to
when.
Harrenhal.
Let's go now. That now we're getting to the conversation between Jace and Bela because that's where it's mentioned. I think it's Bela that
That's
told
right. That's right.
I think it's I don't
They
know
look
who
similar.
told
They're
who.
like dressed the same. They're doing like whole couples
Yes,
goals thing. And when I was texting Kari when Bela dropped
they were talking about the parents, the dads.
the parents and their dads and all of that, like because she obviously now that we know that Bela does not have a relationship with Daemon, like how was my uncle towards you, like Eleanor? Like he was great, taught him fishing, which I thought was really sweet. What about Harvin? I was like, oh shit!
Yes.
Oh Lord, help me! They dropped Harvin Strong name. Damn,
I loved it.
I
I was
loved it.
laughing. I was
It's so
like,
good.
oh my gosh, she did not just do that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, ooh, girl.
The worst
But I
kept
love.
secret in the entire
Oh
kingdom.
yeah. And she's like, by the way, I know. Hello. I already know
Yeah.
what it is. But I love that.
Again, the whole family knew that Lena was gay. Like that, even in the
Yeah,
book,
yeah,
everybody knew Lena was gay.
yeah. But I thought it was really sweet. I think again, just showing the type of kids that Rhaenyra has, the way he spoke about both of them with such respect and and love and stuff. And you could tell that the love was there when they were being raised. by either Lenore, by Harwin, by Renee. They were surrounded with so much love from all these people. And then
And you saw
Corliss
that in
and
season
and
one too.
Rainey, Corliss and Rainey's also being such loving, grandparents and stuff.
Grandparents.
Yeah. So that was a
And you
very
see the
sweet moment.
kids comforting
I
each
loved
other.
it.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah. Remind me of the younger son, like the third son of Rhaenyra. What was his name?
Joffrey.
Joffrey. Like we get the moment with Jason Joffrey in the last episode, and then you see like in this episode how the three siblings of Alicent, none of them are anywhere near each other. Like
No.
Aegon can't even like he sees Helena, as they're going, opposite directions on the steps, and he just looks at her and then he just like runs away. This
That
is
was
like also
a
his
hard moment.
wife.
That's your wife,
Yeah, like
sister, that's your
that
family, that's
hurt.
all of these things, and you guys lost a child.
and you
And
guys
he's
lost a child.
was so
None
sad.
of them are, and Amon's off on his own in the brothel, and you don't see the family trying to like care for each other at all, and it's like
No more.
complete
Everybody just went
contrast
their separate ways
to the
afterwards.
blacks. Yeah, everyone.
Everybody's on their
And then
own.
yeah,
You
you
see
see the
Allison not
family
even
like
trying to, like, Allison sees Aegon
nothing.
crying and nothing.
She's
No type of
emotionally
like
stunted. Like,
because she was coming in there to scold them about Otto. After she had that conversation.
yeah. Oh, she was. She was. That's what
She
she
was
was
coming
coming in to
and she
do. And
saw
then she
Chris, she's
sees
like,
him
oh,
crying, and she just walks
and then
out.
just leaves. I'm like, dude,
And then she walks
something.
out and goes to Kristen.
Speaking of
She
Allison and
decided it was
Otto
better to
Hightower,
go, have sex with Kristen.
although I do like, even though like Otto Hightower used his daughter for his own political advancements and growth, his second son syndrome is so strong with him. I do like their relationship right now in the last chapter, the way they're talking to each other. They know they're in real deep. So they really have to think about the steps that they're taking. Like, you have to control him. He's impulsive. Like, we started this, we have to see it through. And like, now you're going to have to calm him down, like not get into his impulses. And then can we talk about the big thing? Oh,
Oh,
go
wait,
ahead. I'm
wait,
sorry,
wait.
Kari.
Before we get to that, I like just going back to the Otto, Kristen, and Aegon. This one line that had me crying, like I was laughing. They were screaming at each other, and then Aegon goes, "Well, they were talking about Viserys because Otto was telling him how, he would be disappointed. You're not your father." And then Aegon was like, "Well, he made me king." And then Otto goes, "Is that what you think?" Is that what you think? I was like, oh. And Megan was like,
That was
what is
probably
he
one of my
talking
favorite
about?
lines.
It's like, is that what
Even
you
he
think?
looked
I was like,
confused.
okay.
Even he
Yeah,
looked
yeah,
confused.
yeah.
He doesn't
Yeah.
understand the matter.
I think Otto was he said that because yes, like Viserys didn't actually make him, but because it was Otto and his scheming that ended up
That
making
put
him
him
king.
there.
Correct.
So he's kind of like, oh, yeah.
It
It
was
was, yeah, he's
me,
almost
my
kind of being
dude.
like, oh, is that what you think? Actually, it was me. It was all
Even
me.
Missaria confirms it all the time. Otto was making all these moves to ensure that Aegon was
Yes,
the
that
king.
conversation with Rhaenyra, that was so informative as well. I love that. Where she was basically confirming that Otto was the one that put all the plan together, put everything into it. And then now we get to the conversation with Otto and Allison, and then JJ, take us in.
So they drop a name that's gonna be the topic of conversation for a while. I have a feeling. Allison's third son, Daeron Targaryen, Daeron the Brave. Is it Daeron the Brave? I can't remember. Yeah. So apparently, oh, I'm gonna go visit your other son. We may need.
I think
I say 10 out of 10 episode, but like that, it bugs me just how much like why wasn't he name dropped in season 1?
Do you want to know what I think?
Why? Oh God.
They don't care.
I think they
That's
were
a neglected child.
no. I think they were actually like not wanting to include him in season 1, and then they saw that there was like people
Outrage.
having outrage and backlash essentially from the fandom, and so they're like, oh, we're gonna have to like weave him into the story now.
Throw his
And so they put that in like the line of like, oh, this is where he's been and this is why he wasn't in season 1. It's like, this is not planned. This is not planned.
Daeron may yet help us in weeks to come. Oh my God. Like, how do you, if you're a casual view, you've never seen Game of Thrones, you've never read Fire and Blood, like, wait,
I'm like, what is this now? She has a third son?
Where's this
like,
third son coming from? It was such a strange way that they did this.
Watch him do the same thing with Maelor. No, I'm kidding.
Unless, but even if like, let's say Helena and Aegon have a moment of passion, or she has a moment of anybody,
what if he,
like,
or maybe she's pregnant right now. I don't know. Like,
but
maybe she's gonna give birth
but it
soon to
doesn't
the third.
matter. Like,
Doesn't matter.
Blood and Cheese is
It's a big important thing. Yeah.
the thing that made Blood and Cheese in the book Blood and Cheese was Maelor, the second son. So now, like, if she's pregnant for now or later for a moment of passion with anybody, like, why? It won't matter at this point. You're just gonna watch a third baby literally being torn apart by a mob. Who wants to watch that? That's how bad it gets. Like, Maelor is literally on his way to escaping, torn apart. This baby. It's wild.
Oh, dang.
That's not like some of these scenes that.
Oh, so he doesn't actually grow up. He's just another baby who's just. Oh my god. Okay, so that's probably why they removed him. It's kind of a little.
I have a feeling maybe that's why. Just they don't want to like butcher.
They
too
don't
many
want to keep
kids.
doing kid butchering. Okay. I mean,
I see.
I can.
Maelor's death is even worse to me in the book, because it's implied that Jaehaerys was one slice done.
I mean, that's not what they showed in the show.
Correct. Like that's.
So I guess
that's not what we heard.
No, we heard
what they did to Maelor to Jaehaerys.
They kind of combined the two.
Almost like they combined it, yeah. The cruelty of the two deaths.
Yeah.
Jaehaerys was like, and then Maelor torn apart. Because at that point, the war is like real geared up. Like,
it's
people
crazy.
are angry as they're trying to build that. People being hungry and poor, not being able to afford food, so pushing back against the royals and all that. Like, a little kid is just like a rag doll. It's disturbing as shit.
Okay, I can respect that. I can respect that decision.
That's why I'm like, I don't mind like some of these extremely violent. For me, it's personally me. For me, it's easier to read violence than watch violence. You know? That's how I'm able to separate the two, like on page versus actually visualizing it. Like, that's me. Some people cannot. I can. So I'm glad that they're softening some of the extreme violence. But yeah, Daeron is going to cause some conversations and confusion, I'm sure, for people that don't know that Viserys and Alicent had 4 children.
How old is he supposed to be right now?
Daeron is very young.
Yeah.
Like 14, 15.
Oh, so he's still. Oh, I was thinking like infant or something, or like younger than like.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know when she had him.
Yeah.
There's nothing about this character. Like, he's younger than Aemond. And Helena. He's the youngest of the Hightower kids. So
okay.
I think so. I need to check my. But he would be.
But he's like a teenager. So like in the world of Westeros, he's like old enough to be able to take on responsibility.
Correct. Yeah. No. Like everything in here is like aged down. Like, you turn 14, you can be a king. You can war. You can marry. You can do all of this. Like, their lifespans are very short. Nobody lives old.
And then we find out that he's in Old Town. And so what is it? He's studying, basically. What is he doing?
Probably studying. There's like a university down there. Old Town is a center of culture, of religion, of university. Like, it's just a very vibrant, very like fast moving place. It's a port for trade. Like, Old Town is just a really cool place. And the high towers are essentially the center of it. Like, the whole town literally has this high tower.
Oh.
Highest structure
on the nose.
It's very on the nose. Yeah. So like in like current saga, like this is never going to be like in the Song of Ice and Fire. There's a Leyden Hightower. The current Lord of the High Towers is a total weirdo. He's been in a high tower for a decade, hasn't spoken to a living soul, doing literally like dark magic. It's very cool.
Dude, what?
I know, it's so cool. And Euron Greyjoy, like the nothing character on the show, is like this demi god monster type of thing that's going to commit this massive blood sacrifice. Wow. And then there's like magic happening in the High Tower by Leyden Hightower with his bastard daughter, who is also really weird. It's a whole thing. But like, Old Town is it's a cool second largest after King's Landing. It used to be the largest city in Westeros, and then King's Landing became like the center, like in New York, Chicago. That makes sense. So, and Hobart Hightower, the head of the High Towers, again, he is the head of the house, not Otto. That's the problem. So I think he's fostering his nephew. Is that right? Nephew, technically.
Nephew? Grandnephew? I don't know.
Your brother's daughter's son.
Your brother's grandson.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So he's probably down there studying, or maybe learn to be a maester or something. Who knows? But
Yeah, because he's the third son. Like, he doesn't really, I guess, need to be in the castle. Because, like, I mean,
no,
not that they were training Aegon and Aemond anyways, but
right.
it's kind of like you want the king, and then you want the spare, and then after that, it doesn't
Heir, the
matter.
spare, it doesn't really matter. He can do pretty
Yeah.
much whatever he wants. He'll probably marry
Yeah.
a rich, noble lady, establish his home, and live
Yeah.
off of the wealth of that, and that's the end
Yeah.
of that. But Daron exists now. We have to
Okay.
wait for the
Okay.
casting is. I'm very curious. Is he gonna
Well, I wonder
appear?
if they're even going to bring him
Well,
on.
they
Well, I don't
haven't.
know. Yeah.
They haven't
He might be a
casted.
third
We haven't
season
seen a
addition.
cast for him.
Yeah.
We
I've
haven't.
been
Because
rummaging.
this was like the first time they've actually confirmed that he exists.
Damn.
Correct.
Show, right?
That's.
But even Allison doesn't have
haven't
any
heard
reaction
anything,
to that
right?
name.
No, she's just like,
JJ,
just because she doesn't love her
JJ.
children.
JJ, you hadn't heard
She's like,
anything
oh, yeah.
about this, right? With this, hearing his name right now was like a surprise, total surprise to you, JJ.
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was trying to see if the casting
Okay,
was
no,
announced for
that
this. There's nothing.
was this name drop a total surprise to you? Had you heard anything on the internet, Twitter, anything?
Not a thing.
So then people are gonna go nuts.
Literally, I kind of wish I recorded my reaction when I saw that and I saw the name drop, because it was legit and genuine. I don't subscribe to rumors. I don't subscribe to leaks. It's just a lot of stuff has been proven wrong. It's just engaging in that leak culture has been a nightmare. So I try to really, really mute everything I can. I don't know how anybody will actually know this unless they're like, because the scene
Unless
is
they actually, yeah, I guess unless they have like casting or something, or like they've confirmed it in some way. But if he's not playing a big part in this season anyways, then maybe the casting wasn't important.
No,
they're
because
in
if
there
he would have been
brave. I misspoke.
If he would have been, if they would have shown a cast of him, that it would have been all over the internet. So they really
it would have been. Yeah.
They really like kept us under the wraps. Absolutely. I'm shocked that this was kept like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why it's going to be a huge shocking moment on Sunday.
Huge point of.
There's no casting, so you can't like speculate. There's no leaks or rumors that I've seen, and then the character actually confirmed. And I don't think it's going to show up this season.
That's what I'm thinking, is like, if they don't have casting, or like people haven't seen like casting without a name, like, you know, who's this person?
Not even a call to cast.
Exactly.
You have like somebody can get a hands on like if you're in Los Angeles, let's say, or even Great Britain. I don't know where they're filming. Like there's like a call to cast a young blonde character for a dragon show. Like you can kind of
you can put it together. So maybe they're just sort of like hinting at the fact, well, I mean, they're just confirming that he exists, and then
he exists
next season or whenever he actually like gets involved in the story, they're gonna have
I'm very glad. I'm happy that this is done. Again, it should satisfy the book purists a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, if he has a nickname, I assume he's got a role.
Yeah, they're
on the daring or what? Yeah, like you don't get a nickname by being forgettable.
And he rides one of the most beautiful she-dragons ever. So and she is very blue. Think cobalt blue, like gorgeous. If you see artwork, Tessarian.
Does that mean that there's a dragon in Old Town right now?
Yep.
Ooh.
Possible. Like I don't know
if he claimed her at this point.
Because we would have like if Daron exists in universe now, like, but we haven't seen Tessarian on Dragonstone. We haven't seen him at King's Landing. We haven't seen them at all. So I'm going to assume Tessarian is with Daron. And
so maybe a change, because I don't know if in the books is Daron involved in the war.
Yes, he will become. And he'll become a major player.
Maybe they'll bring him in for that once the actual dragon Dance of the Dragon starts.
He's got a huge role in some big battles.
Oh, okay. So they'll probably be there for that, I guess, then. Yeah.
Round up all the dragons.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. So now we get to the ending. I mean, we already spoken about it, but very big moment. Rhaenyra, Eric and Eric. Yeah, the duel of the twins.
That was hard to watch.
So it was
really hard. So you could see the pain in their faces when they were like
The
coming
fact
at
that,
each other the whole time.
dude, yeah, and they do say like I still love you in the middle of it, even though they're on opposite sides and they're bound by duty, one to protect and one to kill, and they're like, there's no one else in the room that can interfere because the other guy, I forget his name, the other Kingsguard is out of his armor, and he has to stay in between that fight and Rhaenyra in case he comes, kill, what is it? Arik kills Eric and then comes at Rhaenyra. He has to stay behind, but by Rhaenyra, he can't help it. He also doesn't know who's who.
I was gonna say he doesn't know who's who.
That's why the
So like,
whole moment was so tense. They're dressed the same,
Yeah,
the hair, everything is the same.
yeah.
So
You can't tell.
I had a fear that like once the duel was done, like is Rhaenyra gonna be like, oh, Eric, da da da, and then he's gonna try something.
Yeah,
yeah.
But then
yeah.
he commits suicide.
But I think it was Arik at the end who does commit suicide because he doesn't have, like, in the very beginning of the fight, one of them gets slashed, or it's Eric, who's Rhaenyra's protector, gets slashed on the knee, like right above the knee on his thigh. And then that was,
They both got
I
slashed.
thought it was,
They
but
both
one
got
of them
slashed.
had it like just above the knee in the very first, yeah, that one was Eric, yeah, got hurt by Arik. And then at the end, the one who says,
Aegon. I always have to like say that out loud so my mind.
the one on Rhaenyra's side
is Eric, correct?
is
Yeah,
Eric. He gets slashed right above the knee, and then at the very end, the one who is standing and says, "Forgive me, Your Grace," and then commits suicide. I didn't see that on his like in that area.
Well, you're saying it might be Arik?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I thought. I got confused and I went back and I rewatched it again to make sure. But yeah, I don't see that same slash there because the one who's on the floor who grabs the. I may be wrong, but the one who grabs
rewatch it, like literally.
Rewatch it.
Follow the movement.
Yeah, seriously, and be like, okay, who slashed who and who had the slash where? Because the one Eric, who's Rhaenyra's protector, at one point also I think has like blood splashes on his face, and the last one standing at the end did not. I may be wrong, but that was my understanding. And like I was confused as well. I'm like,
what did he say? He said, "Forgive me, my." He said, "Forgive me, my
Your
queen?"
Grace, or something.
Your
no,
grace.
He said Your Grace, and then he commits suicide. And it would make sense that would be Eric, but he doesn't have the right wounds. At least maybe
because
I don't know.
think, but that would be Eric admitting, because why would he call her her Grace? Eric.
Yeah.
If that's not his queen.
If that is Arik, that changes that whole moment, that whole scene.
I may be wrong, but
we're gonna have to see on Sunday. We're gonna have to
watch on Sunday.
Yeah, when we watch it on Sunday, we'll see.
Yeah.
That makes it so much more interesting.
If that's what it is, yeah, because I was expecting it to be Eric, and then I wasn't expecting him to commit suicide, but then I was like, wait, which one is it? And then I go back and I'm, yeah, but maybe it is Eric, or because she does say Eric, and then he says, "I'm sorry, Your Grace," and commits suicide. But I don't like something was off with who was who, like with the wounds, like I thought because the one
I was trying to, it was
when they're
very
on
hard
the ground.
Follow.
Yeah, because when they're in that corner, and the one like the one who is like below presses his finger into that wound right above the.
Yeah, I hate gore. I hate body gore.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But then he falls back.
I'm watching it, not talking about it, just watching it.
Yeah. But he's the one who falls back, grabs the sword, and then he gets killed. Like the one who grabs the sword and he goes swinging, and then he gets killed. So I thought that was Eric.
Your memory is
amazing. I have to watch because I don't remember none. You're talking in like a different language to me right now. I'm like, I don't remember.
But anyways, either way, they both die, and it's extremely sad. Like they neither one wanted to kill the other, but they had to do it out of duty. And then the one who did kill the other couldn't live with that and committed suicide.
Oh my God. And the thing is, if Rhaenyra is going to not die in this moment, so.
Oh yeah, of course.
It still felt like she was in actual danger. Like that's.
Yeah, and she wasn't
too close.
The fear as well that Emma was portraying.
Oh my God.
So
again,
good.
Another, like Emma might actually win an award for this.
I hope so. I hope so. They deserve it.
They are a real contender.
Yeah. I love how we saw, I'd actually like that they ended the episode with showing how Kristen and Allison were basically gonna, get together
again,
because it shows how He sent Eric on this mission because of his guilt. Eric is basically paying for Kristen Cole's guilt with his life, but now we have Kristen Cole over here being able to, continue living his life and his fantasy with Alicent.
He has
With
And betraying his oath.
No repercussions.
Despicable
Eric had
character.
to pay for his mistake. Eric had to pay for his mistake. He sent them to pay for his own mistake. And then
these two hypocrites
and then we
are
see
off.
Kristen, and then we see Kristen just keep on, no repercussions, nothing's going on. He's now the hand of the king. He's now the king's confidant, and he's still fucking the queen.
Yep.
Literally,
he's failing upwards. I don't know.
Mad dog. Literally with access to everything, to do whatever he wants. And we're only in episode 2. The war hasn't even started.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, I can't now even. If he's sending people to kill, oh God.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, if he's already sending people to kill Rhaenyra now, what is he gonna do later when he actually has the king's ear?
Now that he has the king's ear, yeah. It's gonna be insane. And I'm gonna be interested in the repercussions. Yeah, I'm also gonna be interested in episode 3. Like, what is Rhaenyra gonna do now? What is gonna be her course of action?
Yeah.
Is she gonna finally be like, okay, all right, well, now they came after me. I can't stay, thinking, still thinking about what happened with, with Helena's kid and stuff like that. Now we gotta do something, right? Oh,
yeah. It's one thing to go after royals, and it's another thing to go after the monarch.
The monarch, yeah. Two people that we didn't bring up, Alan and his brother Adam.
Oh, that scene was so interesting.
Which one? The dragon scene or them talking to each other?
Both.
Them talking to each other.
Both of them. That was Moondancer, right? Bela on her dragon? No? Who was it? Oh, dude! No way! Oh my God!
It was great.
I didn't know. JJ was the one that told me. I was like, what? Laenor.
So that's wait. Is this confirming that Laenor is still in play, possibly, or because if he's still alive, Sea Smoke isn't just gonna go off on. Is Sea Smoke a guy?
Technically, in season 1, Daemon did say we have dragons, and he mentions like Vermithor. We have Sea Smoke, so Sea Smoke is around.
He's around,
flying around. Like, can you just
wait? Does that mean? Okay. My brain is now going into so many things. Okay. So obviously I don't know any of these characters because I haven't read the books. I haven't even watched Game of Thrones. Not that they're in that movie, but okay. The scene with the two brothers, with Alan and Adam, made me think even more that they're related to Corlys somehow. Because Adam says he owes you, and then he says he owes us, and it's like, why would he? Like, I understand him owing Alan because he saved his life, and Alan has this not hatred but contempt for Corlys, and I'm kind of like, there's something personal there. And then when he says he owes us, I'm like, us for what? How? So something there. I feel like, I don't know.
Even in
not only that, but just so you know, just so you,
I was gonna say
again, just JJ, just so you guys know, audience, we talked to each other when we saw the thing, so we were having private conversation. JJ brought up the fact that in the book, Adam has Targaryen silver hair.
Targaryen hair.
So okay.
They changed it in the show.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, Alan is bald, I think, for a reason. And then now that you said Sea Smoke, and that's who Adam sees, part of me is like, oh, is he now? I don't know if this is possible with Laenor still technically being alive. Is he going to be the one to claim Sea Smoke?
It's possible.
Or something. Or is he going to claim it? I don't know. But the fact that he looks at Sea Smoke and Sea Smoke circles him and then goes away, it is not. It's
when I saw bald Alan, in my head I'm like, this is deliberate. This isn't just like a character to shave his head. But Adam having black hair, like dark hair.
Yeah.
like
I don't
we've already
know.
known that. Like there's been official photos of Clint Liberty as Adam. So like we knew, it's just how they're going to do what I think they're gonna do. I don't know how.
Okay.
It's very difficult to talk about them
Maybe could it be
without.
that he dyed his
Without
hair? Is that
spoilers.
like a thing?
It's a thing.
Oh, it could be. It could be. Because they know something in regards to Corliss, and that's why he's saying he owes us.
They
And
owe
then,
us,
you know,
yeah.
Like
and
literally,
Alan
this
has
scene shot
contempt.
immediately to Corliss Velaryon with his wife in bed.
Yes.
Immediately right after that.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
A
Oh.
little on the nose.
This is gonna be fun. Oh
It's very.
man, I can't
Oh,
It's
wait.
man.
hard to talk about the brothers without like.
It seems like they're going to be important in some way. And if they have Targaryen or Velaryon blood and they can ride dragons. No.
This is
There's
I know
unclaimed
nothing.
dragons. There's unclaimed dragons, and there are, other than
Wild
Rhaena,
ones.
there are no Targaryens or Velaryons without dragons. So they have to
Technically,
find people who can claim these dragons
they
to
have
have them on their side.
too many dragons and not a lot of riders. Let's just put that.
Yes, exactly. Not enough riders for the dragons. So
Mhm.
even if they have them in Dragonstone and they have access to them, they can't do anything until a rider claims them. Ooh, it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be very interesting. It's like the show's not gonna go this far. Like Alan in particular is a very prominent character post dance. Like his adventures are very well known throughout the entire like Planetos. Like they're not gonna go that far. Like all of his like legendary stuff mostly happens in his later in his life after he redacted. The character is like just it takes more center stage later in his life when he's redacted. So I'm just very happy to see them. How are they going to play what the show is implying? I don't know.
And Corliss doesn't seem to have any idea because he doesn't know who Alan is.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, it's gonna
be interesting.
Couples on House of the Dragon. Don't idolize marriages on House of the Dragon. Just don't do that.
Anything in House of the Dragon, because it just goes all crazy.
Take it in strides. It's the vibe.
Go with the vibe. Go with the flow. At the moment. Go with the moment.
Correct.
Whatever they're setting up, they're doing it really well. They're doing it really well.
It's very. This season is very interesting so far.
So good,
like,
so much better than like first 2 episodes alone are better than the entire first season to me right now. I'm dead serious. That's how I feel right now. Like I feel excited, like at what they're gonna do next.
I think one of the things that is helping.
Happening.
One of the things that is helping is that we're not doing the time jumps anymore.
No, thank you.
We're spending time again.
Yeah,
we're
spending time with the characters. We're spending time with the events and the aftermath of the events. We're spending time with dialogue, not just exposition, but like actual dialogue and conversation.
Characters are having conversations. It's amazing. Everybody's having conversations, but I love it. And I think that's a standout in this episode. It's like, you have shocking moments. You have the rat catchers being hung, and the little dog looking at you.
Oh my god, the dog! Okay, it was like right there.
I was like, I think I took a photo of him. I'm like, is that? Yeah, that's
it is.
He's still waiting for his boss.
Even though he's abusive, that's still his partner.
That was and like a little. And then before we wrap up on everything, like a little brief shot of the other 2 boys, Daemon and Rhaenyra's children.
Yeah. That was so sweet.
Yeah, that was really sweet. And we see
even in the middle of all that, Rhaenyra is still spending.
Rhaenyra's being a beautiful mom. She wants to make sure that her kids
spending time with her boys.
In contrast to Alicent.
That's awesome. Oh my god, guys! So I think we're getting to the conclusion of this episode, but I want to hear your final thoughts. What do you think? Real quick, it's gonna come. What are we expecting? Next episode.
Overall, guys, I love the episode. I thought it was great. I thought it was really well paced. A lot of great character moments. You're seeing the consequences of the blood and cheese of the butcher and the rat catcher. Tom Glencarney once again shining as Aegon, being this conflicted king that wants to be seen as strong and like powerful, but also there's moments of sadness. Like each of the characters is exhibiting different types of, struggles and conflicts. And I think this episode really signaled that we were seeing something very special that reminded me of the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. So I'm looking forward to what happens now that there's been an attempt on assassination attempt on Rhaenyra. Like that's going to shift tides probably for her character as well. So, and for Daemon and for the rest of them. So 9 out of 10, I'm going to say. Except little Daron Nugget was kind of awkward and out of place, and it's going to cause some confusion. But I loved it as someone who's read the book, but casual viewers are going to have like ooh, what? But 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, great episode. Loved it.
Awesome. I also really enjoyed the episode. I think they did a really good job, like JJ was saying, showing the consequences of what we saw with Blood and Cheese from the previous episode, actually sitting with each of the individual characters that were affected by it, and their rage and their, upset, and even on the other side of it too, like the consequences that, came back on Rhaenyra and the Blacks, like just being able to have that time with the characters and see it. They did a really good job showing characters in very like layered, nuanced ways, not just, like there's the rage with Aegon, but then there's also the grief and a little bit of the madness of him, just wanting blood. And again, actors are doing a phenomenal job portraying these characters. Tom and Emma doing like amazing job, and they're doing also a really good job of introducing like the new characters that they're introducing, establishing them with such little nuggets in time. Like we've only gotten 2 brief scenes with Alan and that one scene with Adam, and or 2 scenes with Adam, and like already there's just like so much excitement for these characters. So yeah, I think they're doing a really good job. The pacing and the time that we're getting to spend in this season, way better, way better than the first season.
No, I agree with both of you. Same thing that I said before. Just I love that we got this time with the characters. They took their time trying to not figure out, but just like, making sure that we know what it is that they're going through, what they're thinking, their thought process, getting to see that the emotions, the different types of emotions from each of these characters was great to see. And I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen, what repercussions is going to happen from this attempt on Rhaenyra's life. Really curious to see, what Daemon is going to do about it, because, he's a hothead, and God forbid somebody came and tried to kill his queen. That's just another reason. Is another excuse for him to go, well, now I got to go do something about it. Dracarys, everybody. But no, it was great, and I cannot wait for the next episode already. So that's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So before I sign off, I really want to thank you guys again for being here. This is amazing, guys. Again, we're gonna be here. We're gonna be doing this every week. We're gonna have our little conversations about the episode, and our thoughts, our theories. JJ giving us the lessons from comparing the show to the book. So it's going to be amazing. So just make sure you're here every week. Just real quick again, let's let the people know where they can find you, JJ.
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter under Lady Dragon JJ. Thank you for having me again. This is so much fun.
For me, you can find me at Sue's Theories on TikTok and Instagram. And again, thank you for having me. I love talking about things with you guys.
And you guys can find me as a Star Wars Tia on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And again, so excited that we are able to have these conversations, guys. So this is going to wrap up this episode of the Temple of Geek podcast. We want to thank everyone who tuned in today, and especially our guests for being with us today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to hit us up on Facebook or Twitter by using the handle Temple of Geek. Do you want to check out some of our other episodes or shows? Why don't you head over to templeofgeek.com, where you will find all sorts of content that pertain to the world of geek. Thank you again, and we will see you next episode.